Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden and welcome to my June front garden tour. The garden is looking so incredible these days. All of a sudden, everything just started blooming beautifully at the same time. We have been having such a lovely year with our weather. Usually around this time, we're getting really hot up into the triple digits, and knock on wood, we've been really, really pleasant, not too hot. It's just been absolutely gorgeous, and the garden is appreciating it. So I think this is gonna be a long garden tour, so sit back, grab a cup of coffee or another drink, and let's get going. So let me start this June front garden tour off with one of the most beautiful things in my garden right now, and that is my zigzag planter. The Supertunia Tiara Pink is incredible, absolutely incredible this year. I am so impressed with it. It is far exceeding my expectations of how vigorous this plant is. So this plant, Supertunia Tiara Pink, is a new variety of Supertunia for proven winners. They also have a Supertunia Tiara Blue, and both of them are really beautiful, but I have to say I love the pink the most because one, I love pink, and then two, the Tiara Pink is quite a bit more vigorous than the Tiara Blue. I'll show you some Tiara Blue over there, and there's quite a big difference. Now, I just wanted to show you all this so that you could see exactly how vigorous Tiara Pink is, because this plant has completely taken over this planter. I mean, absolutely taken over everything else in it. I have some Stratosphere Pink Gara that's getting a little bit swallowed up. Even my totem pole grasses, they're starting to get swallowed up. I'm sure they'll start to grow even more as the season goes on. These guys should get about 6 feet tall, these grasses. I think I am gonna start pulling the Tiara Pink back from it a little bit just so they don't get completely smothered. The Ipomoea is, Ipomoea, we all know how vigorous Ipomoea is, and this guy, I'm glad it's hanging on. I think it'll bounce back a little bit, but I just cannot believe the Tiara Pink has just been so crazy. And then I do have Whirlwind Blue Scaevola in here as well, and it's gone. I was planning to pull it and to plant it to another part of my garden, but I just didn't get around to it, and now I don't even know where to find it. It's completely lost in this Tiara Pink, which is it's just been really, really fun to see. So this door right here, this is our dining room and our kitchen. And when the sun is shining on the Tiara Pink, our dining room and kitchen have a pink hue to it. It's like looking at the world through rosy colored glasses. It's so much fun because this Tiara Pink has just been so incredibly crazy. And I just couldn't be happier with it. Then behind the zigzag planter, I wanted to show off my hanging baskets. I just a couple weeks ago, I actually cut back these hanging baskets. They were getting a bit leggy, and I'm so glad I did that because they bounced back and they look beautiful. This is the Vista View combination. It's the recipe of the year, one of the recipes of the year for proven winners. It has Supertunia Vista Bubblegum, Supertunia Vista Jazzberry, and Supertunia Vista Snowdrift, and it just looks so beautiful. And then for my thriller, I did put some Stratosphere White Gara, which is just so gorgeous. So you all know that I love pink in my garden, and it's a lot of pink. Let's just say it's a lot of pink, but it's been really, really fun. And then the like all these hanging baskets are hooked up to drip. And as they drain, instead of draining down onto my deck and ruining my deck, I decided to put pots underneath them that has Supertunia Royal Velvet, Super Venus Snowdrift, and then some Angel Wing Senecio in them. And they have been catching the extra water. They're not hooked up to drip other than the extra water that comes from these hanging baskets, and they've just worked beautifully. They've been really, really fun to have here. But yeah, I am just so happy with this. I don't know if you can tell how far the Supertunia Tiara Pink has come out. I mean, the zigzag planter ends like here, and this is how far it's come out. I probably could cut it back, but I almost kind of want to see how far it's going to get if I just leave it, which has just been so fun. So I have a lot of people ask me about care and how how I care for this. We fertilize it once a week with Proven Winners water-soluble fertilizer, and then we also spray it once a week with BT, Bacillus thuringiensis, to deal with budworms. And we definitely have a budworm issue here. If I don't spray some of my Supertunias or some of my Superbenas, the budworms will definitely start attacking. So I just have to kind of stay on top of it, and that's what allows these plants to get so vigorous and so absolutely crazy beautiful. I'm just so very happy with them. Now coming over here, just to the right side of my zigzag planter, is my espaliered wall. This is my Star Jasmine espaliered wall, and I'm so excited about it because it finally reached the top. It is basically completely full, and the espalier is done, and now all I have to do is come in and trim it a little bit just to make sure that it stays nice and neat. I don't want to trim it too much because I still want this Star Jasmine to bloom next season, and the more I trim it, the later on it gets in the season, the more blooms I will cut off. But I just enjoy the blooms so much. I have a couple left over. These usually bloom in May, usually around Mother's Day. But I'm so happy with this plant because it's such a fabulous evergreen plant for us. But then I get the benefit of the beautiful blooms in May that smell so good. I did clean out the area underneath here. I pulled everything that was out in here. I had a bunch of different plants and it almost looked a little bit messy. The only plants that I actually left in were Superbena Whiteout, Here's this one right here that you can see blooming, and hopefully those will kind of grow back. I cut them way back because they were pretty leggy. And then I'm going to plant some other things in here. I'm thinking about planting some asparagus fern. I think that'll be really pretty, but I'm going to let the whiteout grow back and see how that does. And then I did just move my thuya. I had this thuya in my backyard in this pot. I moved it here to kind of mask the corner of this area, and I love it. I think it looks so good, and it kind of caps off the end of my espalier wall, and I just couldn't be happier with it. Coming over here, you can kind of see my living wall that has my Clematis armandii on it. The Clematis armandii over on this side of this living wall has been really, really great. It's been such a perfect place for it, and I think it's because my neighbor has this black walnut tree here that does give it a little bit of shade, and I think it needs a little bit more shade. On the other side of my wall, it's really struggling, and it's having a really hard time. So I'm going to try again. I'm going to keep working on it and see if I can kind of push it and get it to work. But at least this side is looking really, really beautiful. And then coming this way, we'll start walking down my orchard garden. My orchard garden, when we moved in here, we had two orange trees, two very, very mature orange trees, a pomegranate tree, a fig tree, and a lime tree. And I know a lot of you will be happy to hear that I am talking to an arborist, and they are going to come and they're going to clean up these huge orange trees. They said that they actually look pretty good and they didn't need too much cleanup, but they're going to come in and they're going to kind of thin them out. It's something that I could have done myself, but they're so very big, and I would have needed to have either extended pole pruners or ladders or something like that. So I decided just to hire an arborist to come. So that will be a video that's coming up later on this month or maybe next month of them pruning out and showing us how to prune out and kind of thin out these orange trees. They did say that will take away some of my oranges, but I get so many oranges that we both decided it's worth it just to get some airflow going on in the tree, which I think will be really good. So that should be coming up. I just wanted to tell you all that because I know a lot of you had been asking when I was going to prune these orange trees. Pruning fruit trees is I don't want to say it's one of my least favorite gardening jobs. It's one of the gardening jobs that I get the most nervous about. I think because I don't want to mess up and lose fruit production. But I think as time goes on, I feel like I will get better at it and I'll learn it. And as I'm watching the arborist do it, I'll get more and more comfortable with it. So, these are the first fruit trees that I've ever had moving into this house. And we moved into this house just shy of 2 years ago. So, I'm still learning. I'm still building up my confidence with pruning fruit trees. So that should be coming. Over here in the orchard garden, things are looking beautiful. My iceberg roses are starting to flush back. There are buds all over it for its second flush of the season. One of the things that's just looking so beautiful this month are my Shasta daisies. And these are my banana cream 2 Shasta daisies that have a little like banana yellow tint to it, which I just think is absolutely gorgeous. And it makes me think, I was looking at this garden earlier in the season thinking that I needed some more yellow, and now that I see this yellow pop up, I think, okay, all right, I think I'm good on yellow. This looks really, really beautiful, and I'm super happy with it. And my pink pearls penstemon that Monty kind of dug up some of them, they survived, and they're starting their second flush of the season, which is really exciting. But now my banana cream 2 Shasta daisies are kind of overtaking them a little bit, so I think I'm going to get more of these and kind of spread them in other areas as well. But everything's looking really, really beautiful. Another thing that's flushing back is my cat's pajamas nepeta. I pruned these back after their first flush of the season, and now they're starting to bloom out again, which is really exciting. And then I have my Superbena raspberry verbenas that are just, I mean, it's just such a beautiful color. You cannot beat that. And that with the meteor shower verbena, I just love this riot of color that I have here in the orchard garden. So coming over here, I planted a whole bunch of one of my favorite plants, which is Plain the Blue Salvia. These probably aren't going to stay long term because I am planning to put kind of like a gate right here, because right where I'm standing is going to be a kind of like a gated entrance, kind of like my living wall over there. So eventually there's going to be a gate right through here, but we weren't planning on doing it this year. So I decided to plant these Plain the Blue Salvias here instead. And I'm so glad I did, because I think that they look so beautiful like that. And they just, they are a pollinator magnet, and I'm scared a lot of them away, but if you're kind of standing away from it, it's almost like it's alive, buzzing with insects and bees and butterflies, and it's just so very fun to see. I love that. And then right next to that, I have my hot and cold Kniphofia, which is one of my favorite plants in the garden because of the structure. It's such an interesting bloom structure. I have some more over here. And to me, these guys just add such a necessary pop of color of orange to the garden. So I have these, and then I have some orange blaze Kniphofias a little bit further down in the orchard garden. I'll show you those in a little bit. But if you don't have Kniphofia in your garden, get some, because it is such a perfect addition to a very colorful garden. I wanted to point out my dahlia tree. It's starting to grow. It's looking good. I did have some gophers come through here, and I thought for sure they would have grabbed the dahlia tree, but they didn't, and I'm so happy about that. So that's looking really good right there and growing. The dahlia tree is always one of the last to bloom, and for those of you who have really short growing seasons, sometimes dahlia trees don't even bloom because the growing season's too short. I'm imagining this guy is going to bloom maybe in September, maybe even early October, because I actually planted it kind of late. So I'll be watching it, and I'll see how it does, and I'll cross my fingers that it blooms for me this year. And then coming back, looking back this way, you can see my denim and lace Russian sage, which is just so beautiful. I just love this plant, and my skin doesn't love this plant. I've told you guys this many times that when I rub up against it, I get a little bit of a rash, especially when I'm pruning it or cutting it. So I have to stay away from it. And you would think that I wouldn't plant these in my garden, but I just love them so much. I think that they're so beautiful. I just work really hard on not touching it, not running my hands along it, and just enjoying the beauty of it. I just think they're so, so very beautiful. I did want to point out my lemon coral sedum that I actually cut back, and it's looking so much better now. So what happens to lemon coral sedum is in usually about May, it will start sprouting some blooms, and I don't like the look of those blooms. I think that they look really, really ugly. I like the foliage on them so much better. So I came through and here's a weed. I came through and I cut back all the blooms, and now it's just all the beautiful foliage, and it just looks so much better like this. I think it's so pretty, and it's such a nice border for along my my gravel walkway. Here you can see one of my Miss Molly butterfly bushes. I have 3 of these in my garden, along with some other varieties of butterfly bushes, and I am just loving them so much. She is gotten to about 6 feet tall, which is pretty tall. She should only get about 4 to 5 feet tall, but you can see how happy Miss Molly is. I think of Miss Molly as just one of the best shrubs in a warm weather garden. They're just so beautiful, and it'll just keep blooming all season long. And you can deadhead it. I've come in and I've deadheaded it once. You can deadhead it more times and it'll just bloom even better. But this is just such a well-used plant, and it gives that little bit of height and it gives that little bit of structure that you need in your garden, and it just gives that color that I just cannot get over. So coming this way, coming down here, here's my Surefire Rose Begonia. I like having this Surefire Rose right here because this is pretty much full sun, full sun. And you can see it's still blooming. It still looks gorgeous. It still looks beautiful. The color of the blooms when it's full sun is a lot deeper of a rose color than when it has a little bit more shade. When it has a little bit more shade, this Surefire Rose Begonia almost gets more of like a pinky color. And when it gets full sun, it almost gets a little bit more red, which I think is really fun to have those options. But it's just really beautiful. It's one of my favorite plants, and it's one of my favorite plants for sun transition areas, which is an area of your garden that maybe sometimes of the year it's shade, sometimes of the year it's sun. This plant is going to do well in either one of those conditions, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful plant. And actually, this bunch right here overwintered for me from last year. I'm zone 9B here in Northern California. I think these guys are only rated down to zone 10. It might be zone 9B. I don't, it's somewhere around there. But I just cut these back down to the ground, maybe a couple inches, and they bounced back. I think I lost one of them, but I think I lost one of them to too much water as opposed to too cold. So it's looking really good. And so these were technically temperennials for me, which means they're classified as an annual, but if you live in a mild enough climate, things will overwinter as perennials for you. So that's what Surefire Rose did. Same thing as Whirlwind Blue Scaevola, which is right over here. Looking absolutely beautiful. I love this color in the garden because you don't often get this color in the garden, and it just looks absolutely beautiful. And these overwintered for me as well, and I think they look so good with the Banana Cream 2 daisies. All right, coming back down my pathway in the orchard garden, you can see I have Ladybird Sunglow Calilophus under here, some more Superbena Raspberry. Then I have my Tutor, my metal Tutor that is absolutely covered with Thunbergia. This is a Black-Eyed Susan vine, very, very beautiful. I also just noticed I have a beautiful weed growing up almost as tall as the Tutor, but that's okay. Anyway, this guy is really beautiful. I love this vine. It's so gorgeous. It does take a while to kind of get going during the season. It overwinters for me here in zone 9B, but you can see it's just absolutely went crazy this past month. Absolutely crazy. And there's buds all over it, and it's looking really pretty. And it's backed by some more of the plain blue salvia, which looks really, really good as well. Oh, this is one plant that a lot of you have been telling me to stop skimming right past it. This is my cardoon. Okay, let me back up so that you can see it. Is this not just the craziest plant? All right, so this is a cardoon, which is very similar to an artichoke, but it's not an artichoke. So these fruit bulbs, blooms, whatever you want to call them, look at that. Look at the bee right there. These guys are not edible as opposed to an artichoke. These are what you would eat. What's edible on the cardoon is the rib, this part, and you have to like boil it. And I've never tried it, but I don't think it tastes as good. But they do have these little blooms on it when you leave them there long enough. And they have this gorgeous, gorgeous blue color that the bees go absolutely crazy for. And then the cool thing about these guys is they dry really well. If I was to cut this and I was to go hang it in a cool, dark place, the color would stay exactly the same as it is now, which is absolutely amazing. But I can't bring myself to cut them because the bees are just going absolutely nuts. I hope you guys can see this. I can't tell because the sun's in my eyes, but the bees are going absolutely nuts for these blooms right now, which is so fun. And you can see how many blooms I have on this plant. And this plant is I mean, 7 feet tall, maybe, I would say 7 feet tall, 7 to 8 feet tall, I would say. So tall, so fun, so beautiful. I actually started this from seed, if you can believe it. And I want to grow so many more of these. I want to put so many of these in my center island. I think it'll be really fun to have them kind of dotted around my center island. Just as such an interesting structure, such an interesting color. And this time of year to have these beautiful blooms that the bees are just going absolutely gaga for is really, really fun. Right underneath the cardoon was kind of the end of my lavender river right here that is looking really good, that the bees are loving as well. I know I still haven't gotten the grasses that I'm putting on either side. So basically I'm filling in this blank area on either side of the lavender river with some grasses. I know what I want. I'm just having trouble getting my hands on it, but I have talked to a local garden center and they're going to try and get it for me. So I just have to take my time and wait to get the exact grasses I want. And the problem is I don't need one, I don't need 5, I need like 30 of them. So it's going to take some time for me to get the right grasses. Coming back over here, I did want to point out my Firefly Fuchsia Yarrow. This is looking so good. I did have a gopher come through this area. I had about 5 of these and the gopher got 3 of them, so I only have 2 left, but I do have a couple more of these on order to come. I just think that they look so very pretty. These are from Proven Winners, and they do have another variety called Firefly Peach Sky, which is not my favorite color of yarrow. To me, in my garden, it just kind of looked dry and it didn't look as good. The Firefly Fuchsia, though, it's so beautiful. It is such a beautiful color, and these did take a full year to kind of develop enough to have such beautiful blooms as these are. So give your yarrow a little bit of time to develop, but once it does, look at how beautiful these are. And I could cut these, I could dry these. They're going to look so beautiful, and I can't wait to get more of them to kind of dot them around this area, especially once the arborist kind of cleans up this orange tree a little bit more. I'll have some more space for planting in here, and I definitely want to add some more of this yarrow. And I have the lemon coral sedum underneath it, back planted with the plain the blue salvia. It's just going to be beautiful right here. All right, and then coming into this garden room, the orange tree has overgrown so much that it's almost made this whole area its own little room, which I actually kind of love, and I'll see how much they cut back the orange tree, but I almost kind of want to put an arch or something right there on either side. I've got my pomegranate tree here, and I got the orange tree here, but I think it would be really fun to separate that area of the orchard garden from this area of the orchard garden, because in my mind, this is its own space. This area was the very first part that I planted up in my orchard garden. This is what I call my purple and orange garden. And of course, I'm sure you can see why, but I just think it looks so good. It looks so beautiful. So starting off, we have the Verbena de la Mina right here that has been blooming all season long. Not all season, excuse me. All year long. From January on, right, to June, it has had these beautiful purple blooms on it. It's a really gorgeous, no muss, no fuss plant. If you can get your hands on it, grab it, because it's just a really great plant to have in your garden. And then coming this way along the border, we have the lemon coral sedum. Behind that is the Cat's Pajamas Nepeta. Then we have the orange blaze Kniphofia that's just looking incredible. This color, I mean, it looks like it's been painted. It looks like someone took a paintbrush and painted this color. A swath of purple, a swath of orange, another swath of purple with the denim and lace Russian sage, and then this gorgeous chiclet orange Esperanza or Tacoma. It is such a beautiful plant, and this is another one of those plants that just blooms and blooms and blooms and blooms. It just has not stopped blooming. It's a little bit late bloomer. It started blooming, I would say, last month in May, and it's just going to continue blooming all season long. It's really beautiful. And then you can see my podocarpus right behind that. That guy's going to get like 30 feet tall, so it's going to be really, really beautiful, really gorgeous. I love this garden bed. Looking over the other side, I have some Royal Raspberry Agastache. I am having a little bit of an issue down here. Look at this down here. Isn't this so weird? I don't know what's going on with this little spot right here. I have no idea. Like all the leaves are kind of red and it's stunted and it's not growing. I wonder if, because I put these in gopher cages, I wonder if it's like running up against the gopher cage and that's what's not allowing it to grow. I'm not totally sure. It's really interesting. I thought I was losing the whole plant, but you can see the rest of the plants here are doing beautifully and growing. And this is such a gorgeous plant. I am not totally sure about the Agastache because I have had these suffer before and not make it. I've had some of them die. So I kind of think of these as like a short-lived perennial, at least for me. But to me, I think it's worth it because they're just so, I mean, this color is just so beautiful. And then with some more of the Banana Cream 2 Shasta Daisies, more of the Plain the Blue Salvia, I have the Rise Up Emberaze Rose, which is kind of like a half mini climbing rose. It's having its second flush of blooms right now of the season, which is really fun. And then looks like I have a random sunflower, giant sunflower right there, which is fun, in my sea of Plain the Blue Salvia, which is very cool. Coming over this way, this area is kind of a work in progress. I planted in some pink profusion salvia back here. This is beyond pink to Caryopteris that hasn't quite started blooming yet, but it should bloom pretty soon. And then underneath here, I have Supertunia Mini Vista Indigo. I think that's what that is. I'll put it on the screen, whatever that is. I can't quite remember right now. This area is kind of a work in progress. I'm not sure if I totally like this spot quite yet. This is my Calendrina Spectabulus that I cut way back. That looks a lot better now that I've cut it back. But I don't think that's the right spot for it right there. It just grows way too much. It needs to be in an area that has really poor soil and probably no drip irrigation to it, because it just grows too quickly, too fast. I mean, look at these stems that I cut off. They're absolutely huge. And I just planted this plant just a couple months ago. So this plant is obviously very, very happy in my garden, almost a little too happy. And I need to put it in a spot. I need to transplant these guys to a spot that doesn't have as rich soil, doesn't have as much water, and has a little bit more sun. But right behind that, I have my white pillar Rose of Sharon, and it is just starting to bloom. I have 2 blooms on it right now, which is very fun. This guy is going to get huge. It's going to get like 9 to 12 feet tall. There's plenty of room for it right in between my neighbor's almond tree that's kind of coming over here. But I just think it's the perfect spot for it, and it's gorgeous. And when I've done a lot of my Best for the West presentations or at garden centers around the Western United States, I've had quite a number of you tell me that you think that this plant should be on my Best for the West list, which is really, really fun to hear and really exciting. Right behind there, this I have a plumbago, which is really fun. This one is a young one. This one will get 6 feet tall and wide. So I'm expecting this whole area to be filled up with the plumbago. And then I do have another Miss Molly butterfly bush that I actually pruned back pretty hard. So it's not really blooming just yet, but it will be coming back very soon. I have more Agastache over here, and then I have some more Shasta Daisies over here, and you can see that I might have overplanted a little too much, so I will be cleaning that up. Oh, I did want to show you all, in the espalier garden, right underneath the espalier, I did have all this black mondo grass, and I didn't want to get rid of it because I think it's so pretty. I planted it out here underneath the fig tree right here, and so far, I think this is a really good spot for it. I think it's going to be really pretty, and as it grows in, I'm just going to have that darkness of the black mondo grass, and that contrasted to the shiny, beautiful color of these fig tree leaves, I think will be gorgeous. I did see a fig that was, oh, look at that. Look at that. Totally ready. I have so many figs on this fig tree this year, you guys. So I had the arborist come and prune this fig tree, and oh my gosh, I am going to have so many figs this year. So many figs this year. So I'm going to have to make fig jam and all the fig stuff. And I'm really, really excited about it. So we just came through the pathway of the orchard garden, but I always like to show outside this way because this is actually one of my favorite views of my garden. I love looking out this way. This year it's been it's so funny because I pulled so many plants out this year to give some more room for some of these plants. I have a Vertigo Pennisetum right there that I thought I gave so much room to. And these plain the blue salvias, it's like I gave them more room and they just grew bigger. It was just crazy. And then I did put in these Sunfinity sunflowers that I just don't like them. They're just not as good as the Suncredible sunflowers. And I have to say, I know I'm biased. I totally know I'm biased to Proven Winners because I love Proven Winners plants, but I wanted to see how the other variety would do for me, and they're just not doing as well as the Sunfinities. They just don't look as pretty. I do have some other sunflowers that reseeded themselves. I'm gonna have to pull those because I think it's a little too much right here with the Super Bean raspberry, but you can kind of see this look and why I like it so much. I just think it's so pretty, and it makes it like, this to me is my garden and what I think of my garden and how beautiful it is. Orange in the background, purple, pink, some yellow, some sunflowers, birds on the wires. I just think it's so very beautiful, and I can hear hummingbirds chirping in the background. I just love it. I love this view so much. Coming back over here, I have Pink Profusion Salvia that I actually cut back, and it's starting its second flush, which is really fun. I have Ladybird Sunglow Callilopis, and this plant is just incredible. It just keeps blooming and keeps blooming and keeps blooming, which is so fun. So if you guys haven't tried this plant in your garden, try it because it is definitely a good one. And then this pathway right here is bordered on either side with Sweet Romance Lavender, which is the same lavender that my Lavender River is comprised of, and I think it's looking really good. Back here, I have my Homestead Verbena that's not looking quite as good. We've had some drip irrigation issues back here and some weed issues, but Jason was out here today kind of cleaning it up and fixing it up. And those surround my Deodar cedar that's starting to get pretty tall, starting to put some growth on it, which is fun as well. And then I do have my daylilies. These are called Blood, Sweat, and Tears daylilies. They're looking really beautiful. And those are right in front of another plant or another shrub. This is Sunny Boulevard St. John's wort, which is really fun. This is the first year that they've actually bloomed for me. So I'm excited to see them and excited to see how they're doing. And I wonder if they started blooming because we've been having the drip irrigation issues and, all the weed issues over here. I'm wondering if they got less water this year and that's why they're blooming this year. I just thought about that, and I'm wondering if that's what the issue was. But let's not worry about that right now. All right, so coming over here, one of my favorite plants that I've tried in this garden. This is Niagara Falls Panicum. It is such a pretty grass. I love this grass so much. It has such a beautiful shimmery blue color to it, to the grass. But once it starts getting its seed heads, which you can see this one is starting to get its seed heads, that's when it really starts to shine. And it gets this kind of fuzzy look to it. And you can leave them up all throughout the winter. And it's just the coolest grass. I love it. I love it more than I love purple fountain grass, and I love purple fountain grass. So really beautiful. And behind that, I have my Chinese pistache tree, which completely leafed out this year, which is really exciting because I was a little bit worried about my Chinese pistache because we bought a really big specimen of it when we planted it last fall. It got definitely really stressed out when we transplanted it, but now it's starting to bounce back and it's looking really good, which is exciting. All right, now let me take you all to the center island, which the center island has been our primary focus this year. And you can really see the changes that have been happening in the center island. It's been so fun. It's been so much fun to see. We're obviously not done with it. We still have a lot more work to do, but we're definitely getting somewhere, which is really exciting. So let me start with our little pathway right here, this little pathway. This has more of the same gravel and the same metal edging from Edgerite that was in our orchard garden. On either side of the entrance, we have the Supertunia Bordeaux that's of course looking gorgeous. Over here, I have more Shasta daisies that have grown so tall, they're almost splitting, and I have to come and I have to prop them up. But these are the spun silk daisy or Shasta daisies. Look at how gorgeous these are. So beautiful. I'm kind of bummed that they split like that, but I'm totally fine with it. It's okay. But I am just in love with these. guys. These look so, so beautiful. Behind that, I have some more denim and lace Russian sage. I just replaced a couple of them because we lost a couple when we were installing the gravel walkway. I did not plant in the right sequence, and I planted these before we put in the pathway, and then as they were putting in the pathway, they stomped on some of my plants. That's why I only have one of the pink profusion salvia right there. There should be a couple more, but I lost those. So anyways, I'm filling all of these in. One thing I did want to show you guys is I wanted to show you my Tuscarora crepe myrtle that is starting to bloom. It's so fun. This was another one of the trees that we planted in the fall. I am so happy to have these trees in my garden because I'm pretty sure this is the variety of crepe myrtle that I had at my last house. We had a huge crepe myrtle in the front of our yard. We didn't know what variety it was, but I'm pretty sure it was the Tuscarora. And now that I see the blooms, I'm almost positive that's what it is. And it's so gorgeous. And it is just starting to bloom. These guys are babies. They're going to get so much bigger. I have two of them. One is on the other side over there. Sorry about the sun. Hopefully you guys can see. But I'm just so excited. In June, when crepe myrtles start to bloom, it is just some of the most exciting blooms of the season because we have crepe myrtles everywhere. We have them everywhere in town. Everybody has a house with crepe myrtles and they all start blooming at once, and it just gets really, really exciting. So I'm happy to see my crepe myrtles blooming. Underneath that, the sea of yellow, which is absolutely beautiful. And this is the annual of the year from Proven Winners. This is Supertunia Mini Vista Yellow. And look at this. Like, look at this plant. It is a sea of yellow, an absolute sea of yellow. It's gorgeous. It is so very beautiful. I have another kind of wash of it over there that's just looking just really, really good. Here's my Augusta Lavender Heliotrope. This plant, I don't think it's a very good plant to have in pots, but I do think it's a great plant to have in the landscape. So just so you guys know, I think it's a great landscape plant. And then of course it goes into more of the Superbena raspberry that I absolutely love and cannot get over. I have more Russian sage underneath my Little Gem magnolia tree. These are some of my topiaries that I am actually giving these to a friend. I'm going to take them out of there, and then you will be able to see my new additions to the center island, which are my storm cloud agapanthus. They haven't quite opened up yet since I planted them, but you can see the color right here. Really beautiful. And then this one is blooming right here. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So these are agapanthus that I actually planted here for my June blooming garden. They are so beautiful. I am so happy with how this whole area looks. And then I intertwined the agapanthus with some of the sun-credible sunflowers, which are the sunflowers that I actually like. They're the landscape sunflowers that I think do so much better in my garden versus the Sunfinity sunflowers or some of the other sunflowers I've tried. I just love this version of landscape sunflowers from Proven Winners so much. And like I said, I know I'm biased, but I've tried them out. I did the due diligence and I still love these absolutely the most. In front of that area, I did plant this variegated orange Bambino bougainvillea. And if you guys watched that video, you knew how careful I was being planting this plant because bougainvillea hate being transplanted. They get super, super stressed and they drop all their leaves and their bracts and their flowers. And you just kind of have to suck it up and deal with it. But I have to say, it's been what, like a week and a half now, I would say, since I planted these, maybe just a week. I don't know. Knock on wood, but not one bract has fallen off since I planted this. I am shocked. I cannot believe it. I didn't come here and clean this up before showing this to you guys. It handled the transplant, at least so far, at least thus far. It handled the transplant, which is really, really exciting. So I am super happy to have that bougainvillea there. It's going to stay small. It's called a Bambino because usually bougainvillea get huge. They get like 12 feet tall and wide. Absolutely crazy. But this variety is going to stay nice and compact, 2 to 3 feet tall and 2 to 3 feet wide. So it's really not going to get too much bigger than that right there, which I think is just absolutely perfect. And then just to the left of the bougainvillea, I have one of my favorite plants in the garden, which I know I say everything's my favorite plant, but this truly is one of my absolute favorite plants in the garden. And they're in all the garden centers that I've gone to lately around, at least around me. I've seen these everywhere. So if you want to get one of these, go to the garden center right now and see if your garden center has them. These are called El Nino Catalpa. It's a cross between a desert willow and a catalpa, and it is just the most beautiful plant. And a lot of people say they smell really good. Maybe I can smell a slight whiff of them. I don't know, but I cannot smell it very much. But some people say they smell so good. I just think they're beautiful. I just think this plant is so beautiful. It is, I should say, it's a small tree. It will get up to about 10 feet tall and wide. You can limit up if you want to make it look like a tree, or let it kind of grow to be more like a bush. I absolutely love this plant. All right, then let me bring you back over this way to the other side of the pathway. I don't think I showed you the other side, where my serpentine atlas cedar is, which I absolutely love. Underneath that, I have more of the Augusta lavender heliotrope. A lot of you have asked me what this plant is. This is just a rudbeckia. This is a rudbeckia that I actually planted in my zigzag planter for fall, not last year, but the year before. I transplanted it out here. I barely take care of it. I don't do anything with it, and it's blooming, and it looks really good. Then I have some orange blaze nifofia that's getting eaten up by the Supertunia mini vista yellow right here. I'll have to come and pull those back because I want that nifofia to thrive and look really pretty. Then as I come over this way, I wanted to show you my sprinklers are on. I am planting a meadow, and it's a California no-mow native grass meadow, and I am so excited about it because it's just starting to sprout and starting to grow, and I'm so happy with it. We have this oscillating sprinkler from HoseLink that has been an absolute savior. We actually hooked this guy up to a timer, and it goes off 4 times a day for I think 30 minutes each time, and it is definitely allowing the grasses to grow, which is really fun. So these grasses are actually going to look like a meadow of these grasses, which is great. So these I got as plants from Annie's Annuals because I wanted to see if I liked the look of the grass, and I definitely love the look of the grass. I think it looks so pretty and so soft, and this area is our leach field from our septic tank, and it's just going to have a nice covering of this grass here, which I think is going to be just so very beautiful. And the cool thing about these California native grasses is they don't need a ton of water. You can let them brown out during the summer and not really water them, and then once the rainy season starts in again in the winter time, they'll start growing again and green up again and look really pretty. I think I'm probably going to come over, bring my HoseLink sprinkler, oscillating sprinkler over, and water them ever so often during the summertime just to keep it as green as I can. But it was just a nice alternative as opposed to installing a traditional grass that needs watering every single day, sometimes even twice a day. And where I live, where it's hot and we're on well, it just wasn't the right answer for us. So having a native grass, I think, is going to be so much better for us and for my garden. And then over here, here's a good look at the dry creek bed. And you can kind of see over on the left side is where the meadow is going to be. The right side is where the pathway and all the plants are. We have our gazebo back there. I just think it's looking so gorgeous. We are going to get boulder fountains for up there, but that's going to come with time. We're trying to figure out how to do it kind of more on a budget, but we will see. But over here, this garden bed, this is a garden bed that I actually planted for hopefully the Gardener's Idea Book, Proven Winners Gardener's Idea Book. So Proven Winners does an idea book every year. If you all aren't signed up for the idea book, sign up for it because it's such good inspiration. And I was talking to them, and we were trying to plant a garden that could showcase the use of low water plants and the use of rocks in your garden. So instead of having like a pond or a creek, what we used here is we used a dry creek bed that's actually really fantastic because it is basically is like what's called a swale, which allows for a place when there's excess water during the rainy season. It allows for the water to come to the dry creek bed and then slowly percolate into the ground. And instead of draining off into the street and being taken away from my property, the water stays here, which is exactly what we want, especially if you have a well. So anyway, this whole garden bed right here is basically featured around the rocks of the dry creek bed. We have lemon coral sedum, we have ladybird sunglow callilopsis, some of the mangaves, some lantana, some whirlwind blue scaevola, some grasses. I think it's really starting to look gorgeous, but we don't, it's not time for the photo shoot yet. So we just have to wait and see how it kind of grows in and if it's going to be up to par, because of course Proven Winners has high expectations, especially for their Gardener's Idea book. So everybody cross your fingers for me to get in the book this year. So I'll quickly show you my willow tree, Robbie the Willow. It is looking so good. It is so beautiful. It's so tall. I can't believe I just planted this tree not even 2 years ago, and it's just looking so majestic and gorgeous, and I'm so happy to have it right there. Right in front of that is this little raised bed that I do think I'm just going to completely start over in this raised bed. I don't think it looks very pretty. I do have a lot of bearded iris that I like the iris when it's blooming, but it's just too dry. The bed is raised and the soil just dries out too much, and I think this bearded iris needs to be in an area that gets a little bit more moisture. I do have a lot of lavender around here that's getting a little overgrown. I think I just need to start over in this bed. So a lot of you ask me why I don't show this area this much and talk about this area this much. It's just because it's a work in progress and it's an area that I want to work on. I'm probably not going to tackle it this year because next year is when I'm actually going to extend the pathway from the orchard garden all the way around the willow tree garden bed. So I think that might be a good time to completely revamp this whole area. But it's definitely an area that my brain is kind of thinking, and I'm thinking of other things that I can do and that I want to do. But behind that, one area that I am absolutely loving this year is my long border. My long border is looking so good. I kind of just stopped thinking about it and I just started planting. I just started putting plants in, and I'm so glad I did because it gives me an idea of what else I need to do and what next steps I need to do in this area. So this whole spot right here I think is looking really great. I have the 3 podocarpus in the back that are going to get really, really big. I have a Monterey cypress, a lemon cypress right there that I cannot believe how fast that tree is growing. I mean, it's growing like inches a month, it feels like. It is getting so very tall. Right underneath that, I have another buddleia. I was telling you how much I love Miss Molly buddleia. I love this Pugster amethyst buddleia. I just love the color. It looks like cotton candy almost. It is so, so very pretty. I have deadheaded it once. I'm starting to get some new blooms on it, but I just love this color of buddleia. And these guys are smaller than the Miss Molly buddleia. They're Pugsters, so these guys are only going to get 2 to 3 feet tall and wide, which I think is absolutely perfect. Underplanted with more of the Supertunia Mini Vista Yellow and of course more of the Superbena Raspberry. As you can see, I'm trying to repeat more things in my garden, so there's repeating of the plants, and I just think it looks really, really good. Behind that, I have my Summerific Hibiscus ballet slippers, and I'm just starting to get my first blooms, which is really, really exciting. And then I have another one of my crepe myrtles. And this crepe myrtle is Pink Velour. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous, beautiful color. Darker leaves than the Tuscarora, and this one stays smaller. This one will only get 8 to 10 feet tall, but how pretty is that? And you can see all the buds on here. This thing is about to go nuts, absolutely nuts, which is really exciting. Underneath there, I have a bunch of annuals. I have some thread, what is it called? Thread something? I'll put it on the screen, but it's Coreopsis, which is starting to bloom. Looks really, really pretty. Supertunia Vista Bubblegum, Artist Blue Ageratum right there, and then my dahlias, Vibrant Violet Virtuoso Dahlia, I think is what I want to call it. So those are looking really good. The one thing that's not looking good is my tulip poplar tree and my peanut butter plant behind there. Both of these are looking terrible. This guy, we forgot to put it on drip irrigation, and so it dried out, and then we tried to fix it, and it is completely dead. So oh God, sad. So I have to replace this with another tree. I'm not totally sure what I'm going to pick yet. I'm thinking about another maple. I think a maple would be really pretty here, but I just have to decide what I want to plant. And then there's my peanut butter tree right there that was looking really good. Jason and I were talking about it, or I should say peanut butter plant. It was looking really good when it was cooler, and then once it started getting a little bit hotter, it started suffering again. So it just might not be a good plant for us here in our climate where we get warm. This garden bed right here, this garden bed needs a little bit of help. It's just, this is the worst soil in my garden. It's really rocky. It's where they took, I think, like old cement and kind of threw it in there. So this garden bed is always a little tough. There's some things that are looking okay, but it's definitely an area that I want to work on. I mean, like, look at that versus that, it's a big difference. And I really think it's because of the soil that makes such a huge difference. My apricot tree is really beautiful. So I have realized that this apricot tree is one of those grafted trees, and I have 4 different varieties of apricots. The first round was this branch over here, and this branch bloomed. Then I got this branch, and this branch went absolutely crazy and fruited, I should say. And now we're starting to get, actually, this is an old one from this branch, but now next should be those 2 branches in the back, which is really fun because I didn't know that it was that type of apricot tree. I didn't know it was a grafted apricot tree last year, but over the winter I pruned this tree and I worked really hard on it and sprayed it for overwintering bugs, and it's just really fun to see that it's fruiting so well for us this year because, like I told you, I really struggle with fruit trees, and I'm just so proud of myself for how good I did for this fruit tree. All right, and then coming a little bit further down the long border, I have planted these bamboo canes are dahlias, that they're surrounding dahlias, and the dahlias are starting to sprout, which is really exciting to see. I have my smoke bush right here. This one I just planted a couple weeks ago, and then I surrounded that with some more pink profusion salvia and some more orange blaze nymphofia. But you can see the smoke bush is still looking really beautiful. I'm really happy with it, and I think that this is a really good spot for it. It does get a little bit more shade from my neighbor's almond tree right there, but since it's late in the evening and the sun is setting, this is when it gets the most amount of sun, and I think it can definitely handle it. Here you can see this is my chewy dahlia, and it's starting to sprout and grow, which is really fun. And then this one is my labyrinth that's starting to sprout and grow, which is really fun as well. Then coming this way, you can see that I have my Vermillionaire Kufia is in full bloom, and the hummingbirds are absolutely loving it. Really gorgeous. And then another area where I just stuffed in a whole bunch of beautiful plants that I'm loving this combination. I have Sweet Romance Lavender. I have white Veronica right here, pink bubblegum, Supertunia pink bubblegum. And then behind here, these are my Cookies and Cream summerific hibiscus that bloom a little bit later than some of the other varieties of summerific hibiscus, but they're so cool because they have this dark foliage on them, which is really, really fun. And then the blooms are just like pure white, which is just so gorgeous. So I can't wait to see those guys start to bloom. And then I have more of the purple amethyst buddleia, or pugster amethyst buddleia. And these, I think, were getting attacked by some pincher bugs, some earwigs, but I did bait for them, and you can see the new leaves don't have any pest pressure on them at all, which is really, really exciting. I did talk to a woman this past weekend that said she thinks she had budworms on her buddleia because all of her buds were like gone. She didn't have any buds on it, and she sprayed BT on it, and all of a sudden it was covered with blooms. So if you guys do have buddleia and you're not getting the little bloom, the the bloom heads, check for budworms as well. I obviously have earwigs on this one. This is my issue, but I never knew that budworms would attack buddleia as well. So I just thought that that was really interesting. Coming this way, I just have more beautiful plants. This is what I wanted to show you. This is my Supertunia Tiara Blue. So you can see how much smaller they are versus the Tiara Pink that is absolutely taking over my zigzag planter right now. These are just, they're smaller, they're a little bit more contained. They're still absolutely gorgeous. So if you have a smaller area and you don't want to put in as crazy of a plant as the Tiara Pink, you can put in the Tiara Blue and they are just gorgeous as well. They're just a little bit smaller. And then these are my honey apricot flavorette roses. And these have edible, well, all roses are edible, but these actually taste really, really good. And these are on its second flush of blooms. And I just think the combination of the honey apricot roses with the Tiara Blue is just absolutely perfect right there. And then we have another one of these are not ballet slippers. These are the Berry Awesome, I think they are. I think I'll put it on the screen, whatever they are, but it's just really fun to see more of the summerific hibiscus, because it's just that time of year when these guys start to go crazy, and you can see how many buds are on this plant, and they've just been blooming like crazy, and it's been so fun to see. Okay, before I let you guys go, I just want to show you my stock tanks right here. They are so fun to see. These are the Surefire Rose Begonia underplanted with some of the Supertunia Mini Vista Indigo, and then underneath there I have some of the Dichondra Silver Falls, and I just love these three stock tanks right here. We did have a leak. One of our big hoses popped off and this whole area was flooded the other day. Luckily we caught it pretty quickly, but that's why there's like a little bit of mud and everything back behind here. But it could have been really bad, like if we weren't home or something like that. Man, it could have been really bad, because it was actually the hose that goes to our hose link up there, so it would have just kept going. It would have just kept flooding the area. So I'm glad that we saw that. So anyway, I wanted to show you these. I think that they are looking really good and they're fun to have, and I just have to say I am so happy with how my garden is looking this June. This is the second June that I've been in this property, and man, what a difference this year has made. It is just looking so gorgeous. We still have lots and lots of work to do. There's still a lot of things that need to be done, but we're getting somewhere, and it's just fun to have some of this beautiful stuff here to look at, to enjoy, to show off to all of you while we're getting other things worked on, like the meadow, like the dry creek bed, like the gazebo and the center island and all that fun stuff. So that's going to be it for my June front garden tour. I appreciate those of you who are still with me. That was a long tour, but there were so many beautiful things to show you all today. I was really excited to get out here and film this because I knew everything is looking so good. So friendly reminder to get your phones, get out into your garden, take pictures, take videos. You are going to appreciate it. You're going to thank yourself so much in the wintertime when you can look back at all these beautiful blooms. Plus, it can just remind you what you wanted to work on, what you want to repeat again next year, all that fun stuff. So take videos, take pictures yourself. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.